You know, I've been here running around for a week, getting people, getting sponsors. But as at the time I'm speaking to you, I probably have five clients. And with 5 clients, we are not able to print. So it's important for people to understand that we need media. Of course, you need media because you advertise your product. Yes. But beyond that, you educate people, you sensitize people. And I really, seriously, I think there are some institutions that do not understand. Okay. I mean, in terms of using the media properly, there are so many things that we can do with the media, but unfortunately, again, it's all a matter of knowledge. People don't know. Yeah.
One-on-one, Monday to Friday at 6:30 p.m. with me, Eugene Anangwe, only on 89.7 Contact FM.
All right, a very, very good evening to you, and many, many thanks for joining us on 89.7 Contact FM for those who are listening, and of course to our viewers who are watching us from around the globe, from wherever you are. Greetings from Rwanda, and of course live from our studios here at Contact. You're watching us through C24, that's the app that you're using on your Android phone. For those who haven't got it, you need to do that so that you're going to be able to watch some of our shows right here on Contact TV. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe, and of course it's time for One-on-One, and my guest in studio is none other than Jean-Paul from the Service Magazine. Jean-Paul, welcome to One-on-One.
Thank you very much.
Jean-Paul, you're here to talk to us a bit more about the 2014 Best and Worst Service Providers Survey that is currently going on, that is being carried out by the Service Magazine, which you represent in the show today.
Yes.
Briefly, if we can just jump into the details of this survey, what really informed the decision to come up with this survey?
The ServiceMag has been operating in Rwanda since March 2010. We've been writing articles, we've been publishing companies, we've been advertising companies, but in the end we were like, what about what's the impact? What's the impact do we make? And then we decided to, every year from 2012, this is the 3rd consecutive time that we do that, to see what do the customers, do the customers see the companies they go to? How do they, what's the reward of their money, the money that they pay? So we decide, let's conduct a survey that is targeted to those people who go to different sectors, banks, insurance, hotels and restaurants. So we said, let's see what they say. So we started that. Now we are doing it for the 3rd consecutive time.
This is the 3rd time. But there's a new twist in this one. This time round, you're also featuring the worst service providers, which I'm not so sure if you have been also featuring that.
I think we always did that.
You did that, but then there was no announcement of the worst service provider.
Yes.
Why was that?
In the end, when you start something, mostly in Rwanda, you have to be careful of the way you do things.
What do you mean by that?
In the end, we realized that talking about the best and leaving the worst, somehow it doesn't make sense. So we decided, it's like even when we were in school, they always said this is the first and that is the last one. But we always say the last one is the worst in order to help them improve. Because it wouldn't make sense to have just the best and not having the worst.
Yeah. So what would you do with the list of the worst providers? Because you say that in all the past 3 surveys that you did over the past 3 years, you used to also carry a survey on the worst service providers. So what would you do with that part? Would you go behind the curtains to talk to those that have been featured under the worst service providers, or what would you do with that detail?
No, because when we reveal the results, we normally organize an event, a corporate event, where we announce the results. So we say it at the same time as we say the best. So it's up now to the companies, because they spread the word. And most of those companies, we know someone, and they always ask, how did this happen? We said, we conduct a survey. We went, we put it online. We went up country with manual questionnaires people have filled. So they were not satisfied. They were not satisfied. And in the most of the case, because on the questionnaire we add what is the general comments, we ask them what are the factors.
So are you saying, are you trying to say or confirm that you used to publish the names of the worst performing sectors or companies in service delivery?
Yeah.
And then what was the impact of that 3 years down the line in terms of improving the state of affairs in service delivery?
No, in the end, because you will see that the worst is not, in the 3 years in every sector, you will see that the person who was the worst, let's say in 2012, he's not the same person who is the worst in 2013, or he will not be the same in 2014. So from that, based on that, we assume that they have improved their services, their service delivery, or we assume that now the client or the person who goes to those companies now has a different view. If he has a different view, it means something has been changed.
But how do we, the people who are consuming this information, get to know that or to understand that factor or that element when most of the focus is always on the best performing companies in terms of service delivery?
Because
it overrides, it overshadows the worst performing.
If you look at the way the questionnaire is you can't start with the worst. You can't say the vote for the worst. You start with always the best, because you start with always the best because the person will normally they start with the best, but you can't really say start with the worst. That would make because the idea of having the best and the worst, it's not for the worst to feel like he's penalized or what. It's a chance, it's an opportunity for him to change.
So you wouldn't call that naming and shaming?
No.
Of the worst performing companies?
We can't call it that way. We just want companies. Normally, if it was possible, we could say like 15 companies in each sector. But that one is difficult to do. That's what. So we ease in things, and then we say the worst.
The way you say it is like you're sugarcoating the stuff so much in terms of not wanting to seem to be wanting to put those who are not delivering in terms of giving good services, in terms of serving the customers in a good way. You seem not to want to put them in the corner. You seem not to want to make them understand that what they're doing is actually wrong. It seems like you just want to make them understand that, what, guys, you need to improve. It's like you're being lenient with them. So how do you then achieve your desired result when they don't feel the pressure of not being in that list of the worst performing?
No, but Eugene, when in normal life, when they say this person is the best performer and this one is the worst performer, even if they don't give you the details, even if they don't give you much information, we always want to leave that category of being worst. And
those who are comfortable, they don't feel anything. They just comfortable where they are.
I don't think it's the case. I think as long as we say a survey that is conducted according to international norms and standards. They understand the importance and they understand that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk of those standards then. How would you best elaborate those standards when you say the questions or the answers, not the questions, but the answers by those who are taking part in the survey will be anonymous, or they will be anonymous. They won't be known, so they will not be victimized, for example, if there is any victimization.
Definitely.
So how do you then justify that whatever result that you announce on that day is true when we will not be able to know who really said what?
No, we as I said, we do it based on the international standards. You can't tell everyone. You can tell, and if anyone wants, we will show him the questionnaire we used. We will show him the statistics that.
Then you'll be violating that part of anonymous.
No, we cannot say. We will not give, and we will not say Eugene has voted for, I will not name a company for this company that it was the worst or the best. We will not do that, but we can show you the process of how the things were done. Yeah.
And what of those who are skeptical and say, you know what, this thing was rigged? That company, no. So how will you deal with those kind of people who want to see and demand and say, no, we want to see how this process was done? Not just showing us the questionnaire, but showing us the detail and the process of how we got to that particular result.
I think, we are now talking about the survey. We are telling everyone that is happening. That's the first proof. We are telling people that it started on 15th, that you can vote online, we promote it on our social media and all of those stuff. That is already a proof that the survey was happening. But also we have people who are going out with forms with the ServiceMag t-shirts and hats and stuff. So that's already a proof. So I don't. If the person came to us, we will not show him. We will explain how we did it, but we will not have the right. At a certain point, you also have to trust the ServiceMag.
Right. So they will just have to trust you.
I think
because why I ask this question is because of the fact that there are some people from certain quarters who will probably feel that they have been shortchanged. Maybe in their own opinion, they feel that they offer the best services. Or in their opinion, they feel that they have not been serving people in the wrong way. But then they end up in a list or in a position that they don't really feel satisfied or feel happy being in. And maybe they would want to have that assurance that this process is going to be transparent, this process is going to be fair.
So I think in that way they should there are other means to evaluate the service you're giving to your clients. There are lots of means. There are mystery shoppings and stuff. So I think for us, when we conduct a survey like this, it's not really to prove you are the best, you are the worst, but it's really to show the companies that they should do the same themselves, because there are other companies who do that, who conduct mystery shopping. They do. They even people, because internal, it's always you always have to be that person. If the person managing the department will be saying, he's a friend of mine, so somehow the results will not be so sure. So it's another encouragement for them, for the companies, to find ways to evaluate the services they're giving to their clients. So if someone came to us with that idea that I'd be like, I think you should hire another company to conduct a survey, so that you know exactly what is your face towards your clients.
So how then do you say that at the end of the day we have achieved our results? What do you really want to achieve? Because number one, from what you say, is like, we are not here to sort of victimize those who are performing poorly in terms of giving service delivery. Then at the end of the day, you're also saying we are not here to also, make people compete in terms of bragging and saying, we are the ones who are giving their service. You want to encourage them to at least offer good services. So what then do you want to achieve beyond just this?
For us, what we want to achieve, because we have done it now, it's the third time we do it. We want in every sector that the worst person changes to the best, or the best. The worst person changes to the best. No. So we want to have, because in every sector you have many companies. So we want those companies that not just one company is always the best, always the worst. So we want every year to have a new company that is the best, but so that in 3 years, this sector has been changing. That's what we want, because we know that it's. I know it's easy to go backwards, as in if you were you were the best this year, next year you might be. But if those companies, they keep the same level, that another company comes first, another company comes first. If it keeps rotating, you can see that at least in every sector the companies are making efforts to to provide the best service delivery.
Good. So in everything you do, normally in life you have to always remain relevant, and once you're irrelevant, then whatever you do doesn't really make sense or doesn't have any impact. And therefore, Jean-Paul, and together with your team at the Service Magazine, how then would you tell people that this survey is really relevant based on the past surveys or the results that you've had? In other words, I'm asking you, tell us today, what are some of the achievements that you can say this survey has been able to do in terms of contributing to the uplifting of the current state of service delivery in the country?
I mean, so far I cannot recall all the names of who was the best in 2011, 2012, 2013, and because today not yet. So I mean, the last 2 years we have been doing it. If we could recall the results of the two surveys, yes. You see that companies have changed. The first one was the last, and sometimes we reveal then we found that the new entrants in the market, like last year, you know, Razmana was the overall best service provider. So you could see that when a company enters the market, they are really strong. Force, they have markets. They know what they do. They know what they do. In most cases, you will find it changes to companies that have been there, to sectors that do not change much, do not have that many competitors that come in the market. So we notice that the newcomers, they are always good. They are always good. But maybe this year it's gonna change, or maybe this year it's gonna be the new one or the existing one. So it always helps us to compare last year what happened, who was the best, and you see the factors that he was the best. Like now I'm so waiting to see, like the issue that, like, as you see in the Rwandan economy, the insurance market has been growing too fast, and the finance industry also has been, the banking industry has been. So for now I'm looking for those to see what what those new entrants in the market will, the impact will do. Because when the entrants, when they come with, they are very aggressive. The other ones have to react. Otherwise, they lose a share of a percentage share of the market.
Good. So how then do we then go beyond just releasing results of a survey? In other words, after the people have taken part, those who take part in giving their, comments and taking part in the survey, and then you release the results. As I can see, in March, you're going to release the results of this survey. Yeah. How then do you go beyond just being an institution or a service provider that just does that and then it ends there? When I ask this, I'm trying to ask, when it comes to releasing these results of those who have performed in whatever way they have performed, how then do you go beyond that in terms of making sure that you either have some recommendations that policymakers can use to ensure that a certain standard is probably used to make sure that we have good service delivery in the country? Do you just release and then it ends there, or do you release and then you give recommendations and follow up with line ministries of some of those institutions that have been mentioned, or what?
No, we can't. We don't really do that. We don't really follow up because it's a lot of work and it's very expensive. Most of the time, we need partners to conduct to do those things. But what we do, because every survey that we conduct, we publish it in the following issue of the magazine. Which we hope we have 5,000 free copies that are distributed all around the country. So we think those 5,000 know the results and all the recommendations because we have suggestions and recommendations. So we give that to people that we decide for themselves. But also we always talk about that. We are like we want to be we are the voice of the people. We are like a channel between the clients and the service providers. So we always talk about good things, what is good anywhere in any industry or any company, but we also say what is bad. And what we have been seeing is that we have now the top managers, as in the CEO, reacting on Saturday about an issue that the client has posted on Facebook or on Twitter. So you can see that we are trying to be the bridge between the clients and the service providers. We want to do that, but otherwise we can't, go beyond that. Say, I think that's up to institutions like RDB and people like that.
But I would have expected. I would have expected. I'm sure also some of those who are watching or listening to us would have also expected that you would want to go beyond just releasing the results of a survey and working closely with various other bigger institutions that work towards improving the issue of service delivery in the country. For example, RDB with the Department of service delivery and customer care.
Yeah.
And then probably from there you could have your voice even heard more, not just your voice, but the voice of the customers through you had even more amplified from the recommendations or from the trends in some of the results that you've been releasing over the past few years.
But we would want to do that, but this survey, we do it individually. I will explain why we do it individually. We do it as the ServiceMag because if you do it with RDB, people will say no, because we already have that sector of government agencies, and it's one of the government agencies that actually receives many people, I mean very many people of different levels, of different cultures and stuff. So it wouldn't give a good image if we really had like RDB contributing to that, being present into the survey. Maybe in partnership with them, it can be their product, but now for us, we consider it as our product. That makes sense that at least people understand that we did it and we are neutral, you see. Yeah.
Isn't that a bit dangerous in terms of if it looks like it's us, we won't work with them, we won't do with them. People should know we did it ourselves. What I'm trying to imply here is that probably unity is strength. And if you were to go together with different institutions that probably speak the same voice when it comes to issues of service delivery, then maybe your result or your impact might be bigger. Yeah. In terms of resources, in terms of the skills, the personnel, and all that. So I'm just trying to ask this because I would like to know if this is something that you're really considering to do.
Yeah, we actually, like last week we met with people of the customer service unit in RDB. We were trying to discuss about that, but as I said, we explained that for now, let's keep it the ServiceMag, because we feature all the sectors and you are included in the people to do the survey on. Then we are thinking of another product that would include all those people, all those sectors, which will be different from this survey, because this survey, it would really give it another. Because even for the sponsors of the event, you will see that there is no sponsor. No one sponsored that. No one. I mean, actually now no one is doing it. We are doing it as the ServiceMag. So that
because people just felt it is not worth putting their money in, or how would you explain the fact that
it's always not easy to get money from companies, from people. It's always difficult. They have their budgets. They have a lot of things to consider when as far as financing or funding something is concerned. So, but we hope in the future we're gonna find something that includes all of those players in the service delivery industry.
Now there is the issue of I asked this earlier on in passing, but then again I think it's also important to understand that the issue of cheating in this kind of surveys. How do you curb that fact when a certain institution wants to be named as the best service provider among all of them and says we will go to whatever level to make sure we get that, and they tell all their staff members to go and participate in the survey and vote in their favor? How do you verify these results?
But we have a very trained team that have been working with. Since the beginning of the survey in 2012. So we believe, we trust them. We monitor it. On daily basis. We see what they do, and you will see most of the time we post pictures on Facebook and Twitter showing where they are exactly. Like now, I can tell you that they spend the day in Huye and.
That's not the physical part, but we have the online. We have the online part of taking part in the survey, where you have a question which tells someone whether they want to say the company they work for or not. And so if someone decides, I work for company X, and we all want to vote for our company, and they don't mention whatever company they work for, how then will you verify that these results are very factual?
Normally we, on the questionnaire, we ask you the sector from which you work from. So it's probably that if you work in this sector, let's say
let's say media.
Let's say media.
Let's go media.
So there is no way you can verify that. But also a survey, it's not because what the person tells you will not ask the person to tell you exactly what you want to hear. The person tells you what he wants to. What you ask him and what he wants you to know. So sometimes you just have to rely on the truth, because I know in the service industry, people are willing to have it taken to the next level for it to change. I mean, shift from this level, move to this one. So I don't think, we trust people that they will say the truth.
So we will run with this campaign with faith. That people will tell the truth, that we will trust what they say, that this is how the situation is. Is this what you're trying to imply?
Because most of the results, they are even manual, because most of the questionnaires, they are manually filled. So we believe that the people will tell us. And we go to people. We don't inform any company that we are going there. You see, we are here now. So the chances of, doing that, it's there.
But that is also not so true. That is also not so true. Because we have many institutions which you cannot just walk into their doors and say, we have come to carry out a survey. They would definitely want you to have written a letter
in advance
to tell them, yes, that we would want to come on this particular day. And so that definitely cancels what you told me.
I will tell you, we don't go to companies mostly. We go to this, because we believe that the people in all those companies, they can do it online. So if MTN, they do, they fill in more forms more than the other. That one we cannot control because it's online. Anyone can fill in. But what I'm saying is the manual one. So it's done. No one knows where we go. You just know when we are there, and we don't write in advance. We come to you if you want to fill.
You walk in.
But yeah, we walk in. So but if you fill the form, it's fine. But if you don't, we look for other people. And also we do that because as I said, those people in companies, they have internet, they have inverter. So we want those people who don't have internet, who just listen to the radio, who just work in a bank or in any institution on a daily basis. So we want them to have a voice. That's why we go there. Yeah.
You're getting reinforcement here. There's some backup coming in, and I'm being told from your admin via the ServiceMag handle on Twitter that our internet systems will block multiple votes from the same computer to avoid multiplied votes.
Definitely, because...
But then what if they use different computers? People are smart nowadays, and probably by saying this, now they have discovered that this is not going to work for them. So how will you counter that part of people not using the same computer, but using different computers because they have the resources, they have the time?
But in the questionnaire, there is where you submit your email address.
Okay.
So whenever you have submitted your email address, you will not use
the same. What of the number of employees? If we have many employees and each of us submits using various laptops or computers.
That's something you cannot really control. Okay. You can. But we try to limit those people who cheat at a certain level, but there is another certain level that we cannot do. But as I said, I don't think it's not gonna go to that level of people going to switch computers and all of this. I don't think so.
All right. So Jean-Paul, yes. It's time for us to wrap up, and of course, I'll just give you probably less than 60 seconds to convince those who are listening why they should believe in this survey.
They should believe in the survey because we've been doing it. It's for their own interest. Mostly, I'm talking to the clients, to those people who work in offices and shops and everything, because it shows the general picture of how the service is being delivered in the country. But it also gives, if someone is named the worst, I'm sure he will want to improve on what he has been doing. But also the best service. There is always something that is not, because what I perceive today, it's not what you will perceive. So, and we are trying to satisfy all the people who work in our shops or our companies. We want them to be satisfied. So the idea is not to name the best or the worst. The idea or the the objective is to have people see the picture of what is happening, and that companies need to improve their service delivery.
All right. Thank you so much, Jean-Paul Uwayezu, the editor, of course, and also marketing consultant at the Service Magazine, joining us right here on One on One. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. There you have it. It is now up to you to really do what you really feel is best for you. We definitely are out of time. You'll not be able to add anything or subtract anything. You've had your moment, but of course we hope that we'll have you again next time to probably talk more about this and more issues. All right?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. The voting is still going on, and of course you can take part, make your voice heard on the worst and of course best service providers in Rwanda. Thank you so much for listening and of course watching One on One. I'm Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye for now.